What if the Apollo missions hadn't stopped? Imagine this, a bootprint pressed into the moon's surface, vibrant against the dusty gray backdrop. Now, instead of that image fading into history, picture it becoming the first step in a bustling lunar outpost, a second home for humanity. What if we had never abandoned the Apollo program? What if the dream had been sustained and we never stopped reaching for the stars? In this video, we'll take a journey through that alternate universe. We'll explore what could have been if the Apollo missions had continued, the short-term and long-term impacts on the United States, science and humanity as a whole. Could we have colonized the moon, landed on Mars already, perhaps even ventured beyond? Stay tuned, and let's dive into these tantalizing possibilities. And don't forget, if this topic sparks your imagination, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the wonders of the cosmos together. The Apollo program was, without exaggeration, one of humanity's most astonishing achievements. Between 1969 and 1972, 12 astronauts walked on the lunar surface, gathering valuable data and showing the world just what was possible when nations turned their gaze skyward. It was a beacon of human ingenuity, symbolizing discovery, progress, and the unifying power of exploration. But by the early 1970s, the dream was put on hold. Budget constraints, political realignments, and dwindling public interest all took their toll. The Apollo program was discontinued, leaving only a tantalizing glimpse of what could have been. However, imagine for a moment that Apollo didn't stop. Instead, NASA doubled down on its vision for human space exploration. What would the world look like now? In the years following Apollo 17, the United States could have quickly solidified its dominance as a spacefaring nation. Continuing lunar missions would have bolstered national pride and demonstrated technological superiority, especially amidst the Cold War tensions of the era. Politically, maintaining an edge in space exploration might have secured even stronger US leadership on the global stage, reinforcing its image as a symbol of progress and innovation. Rival nations, particularly the Soviet Union, might have either accelerated their own programs or chosen collaboration instead of competition. Economically, expanding the Apollo program would undoubtedly have fueled new technological advancements, spilling over into industries beyond aerospace. We saw real-life spin-offs from Apollo, like advancements in computing, telecommunications, and medical devices. But imagine what additional sustained investment might have brought. Could we have leaped decades ahead in solar energy, robotics, or materials? The short-term gains for the US economy could have been extraordinary. Had the Apollo missions continued throughout the 1970s and into the 1980s, the natural next step would have been establishing permanent infrastructure on the moon. This includes lunar bases for research, energy harvesting, and possibly mining operations. The moon, with its abundance of untapped resources like helium-3, could have become a hub for scientific breakthroughs and economic opportunities. Establishing a permanent presence there would not only have expanded human understanding of our closest celestial neighbor, but also served as a vital stepping stone for exploring the rest of the solar system. More importantly, lunar bases could have opened new doors for international collaboration. Imagine the early Apollo program evolving into a joint global effort to make the moon humanity's first settlement beyond Earth. Perhaps the most compelling possibility is Mars. Could we have landed humans there by now if Apollo had continued? Short answer, quite possibly. The moon would have functioned as an ideal testing ground for interplanetary travel. We could have refined the engineering and survival methods needed for a journey to Mars. Mars, often called humanity's next frontier, holds endless possibilities for expanding our species' footprint. A continuing Apollo program could have set the stage for landing humans on Mars as early as the 1990s. Those missions would have been more than symbolic. They would have laid the groundwork for permanent colonization. With over 5 decades of sustained lunar and Martian exploration, where could we be now? Floating cities on Mars? Mining the asteroids? Now let's talk about what humanity as a whole could have gained. The Apollo program didn't just put men on the moon, it inspired an entire generation of scientists, engineers, and thinkers. kids who watched those grainy black and white broadcasts grew up to invent groundbreaking technologies we use today. Continuing Apollo would have amplified that effect, motivating even broader participation in the sciences. In terms of scientific discovery, a sustained lunar presence and Martian exploration could have yielded data that we can only speculate about today. Could we have found signs of life on Mars? Might we have developed new ways of understanding life itself through the conditions of other planets? And beyond the tangible, space exploration has a unique power to unite people. It reminds us that we are all part of the same fragile planet, sharing the same dream of discovery. Prolonging such a unifying endeavor could have dramatically changed how we see ourselves, not as divided nations, but as one human race. Of course, it's important to pause and ask, was discontinuing Apollo inevitable? After all, the program faced significant challenges, budget limitations, complex logistics, and public perception that money spent on space could have been used for Earth-bound problems. While facing these obstacles, what Apollo lacked was sustained political and public support. Could NASA have rallied more enthusiasm for a moon base or Mars mission during tough economic periods? Or were these dreams always destined to be delayed for a more technologically and financially ready future? At this point, you might be wondering, did we miss our window of opportunity, or is that dream still alive? The good news: the spirit of Apollo is indeed making a comeback. Programs like Artemis are reigniting the quest for the moon, and private companies like SpaceX are making interplanetary travel feel more tangible than ever. But imagine if these efforts had started decades earlier, with the momentum of Apollo behind them. Would we already have thriving colonies on Mars or sustainable mining operations among the asteroids? It feels bittersweet to think that what we're striving toward today could already have been achieved. Ultimately, what this thought experiment highlights is the vast potential of humanity when we dream big. The Apollo program showed us that seemingly impossible goals could become reality. Continuing it could have paved the way for unparalleled achievements, not just in space, but here on Earth. As we work toward returning to the moon and heading for Mars, let's not see Apollo's discontinuation as failure, but as a delayed chapter. The possibilities are still out there, waiting for us to make them real. How do you think the world would have been different if the Apollo missions had continued? Would we already be living on the moon, exploring Mars, or traveling even further into the cosmos? Or do you think there were reasons, political, economic, or practical, why scaling back was necessary? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This is a discussion worth having, and we'd love to hear your take. And if this video sparked your curiosity, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking journeys into science, space, and the future of humanity. Your curiosity fuels our exploration. Let's dream bigger, together. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep looking up. The stars are closer than we think if we choose to reach for them.